Hello, it's Sabrina of Sabrina Sells DFW, and I'm back. I've been gone for a little while, just taking care of a few personal things and getting a few things in order. I got a couple licenses and I learned a lot more so that I can better serve my clients as well as assist the ones I already had on the books. But today I wanted to discuss just who you're influenced by when you're making decisions, especially when you're home buying. So believe me, the realtors, whether they're great, whether they're not, they all understand that purchasing a home is such a huge thing for whoever it is. It's most likely going to be their largest purchase that they make within their life, and they will make several, and usually with the price increasing until they're ready to downsize their home. And that may still be an increasing purchase price because costs are always going up. And then the last three situations I've seen where people were influenced by the people who are around them, whether it's coworkers, friends, family, just other people sharing their stories. And although they may be well intentioned, a lot of times people can rob you of something that you're supposed to have because they place their fear and their hesitation and what their bank account looks like on you. And so in one scenario, it was a younger woman and she had money saved and her friends were telling her that it's not a good time to buy. So people will always tell you it's not a good time to buy. It's not a good time to buy when the market's down. It's not a good time to buy when the market's up. They'll tell you it's not a good time to buy in a recession. However, people became millionaires during that recession because they did buy. They'll tell you not to buy when the market is up because the prices are too high. Well, all the people who paid 60,000 over asking price, 75,000 over asking price, guess what? If someone else tried to get that same loan at their same purchase price, they could not get their same monthly payment because although they may have paid over, they paid over on a 2.3, 2.75% interest rate. And now with 7.5% interest rates being the norm, you would have to purchase a home about $125,000 less to get their same monthly payment. So, regardless of what other people think is a bad time for you and what they'll say about you, you have to decide for yourself. And if you're a person who prays, you have to pray for yourself. And you have to keep that circle of people that you're speaking to, you have to keep that pretty small. Because when you get other people in, you get their influences, how they feel about it. And if they know that you work with them and they're not a good saver, they're going to tell you how that will put you out and how much money you wouldn't have and how you may be, coming into some situations where, you may end up getting foreclosed on because you don't have enough money. When in reality, they don't understand that you've been putting money to the side, that you've been looking up down payment assistance programs, and that you budget your money way better than they do, and they don't see that side of what you have going on. Another situation was a client whose parents kept telling them, just wait, just stay and live with us. Of course, your parents always will sometimes want you to stay and live with them, but just stay and live with us. No, it's just not a good time. It's just not a good time. Well, they've been going through that for about 2.5 years now, and it's still not a good time. They said it wasn't a good time when it was a seller's market. They're saying it's not a good time now, even though we are in somewhat of a buyer's market, depending on where you purchase. It's still not a good time. Interest rates are too high. The prices are too low. Whatever excuse people may give you. When your parents bought a home, it's going to be way different than when you bought a home. I can remember when I bought my first home, the purchase price, it was new construction and it was 108,000. Now this is in like 2015, I believe. I think this is 2015. Or nope, I purchased it in 2014. It was built in 2015. And at the time, that was below my budget. My purchasing range at that time was 125,000. And of course, I went to talk to my parents about it. Now, my dad was curious, like, how big is this house? What is it? What does it come with? Because he purchased this house a couple years before me, and his was new also, and he only paid 89,000, so or 85, something like that. People's purchase experiences are going to be different, and they're not, if they're not in the market to purchase a home, they don't understand the price differences and what a good price is. They're going to be basing it on what happened around them or the time that they purchased. I can tell you with this home, the time that I purchased, I have a super low interest rate on this home, and I got a pretty great purchase price as well because you couldn't even purchase in my neighborhood last year under 300,000, and I purchased under 250. So it was a completely different time. Well, now you're seeing these homes and they're like in the 290s, and people are like, oh, well, you're losing value. I'm not losing any value. There's no one right now who can purchase a home with a $1,600 a month mortgage. Not this home. So you have to choose your battles. You have to choose what's best for you. Do not be influenced by what other people are telling you and the market value and all of those things. People hold different things at a different value, and so do you. For you, where you are in your life, if purchasing a home has a high value to you, talking to someone who plans to rent for the rest of their life, which is totally fine, they're not going to hold the same value to home ownership that you do. If someone never grew up in a home and they don't understand what it was to you, if you and your family have always had one, they will not hold the same value to having a home as you do. So people are just like, oh, just wait because it's not a big deal to them, where you may be living with your in-laws and you may be ready to go. So things are going to hold a different value, and you have to be careful about who's around you and who knows and who's going to be telling you what you should be doing or whether it's not a good time. You have to look at your own situation, speak with a lender. I can refer you to a lender. Any realtor can refer you to their lender because we know who the experts in the business are. And you can take a look at their opportunities that they're providing and see if they're a good fit for you. Be cautious of people who are telling you to do something or to not do something who have never been through that thing before in their entire life. You wouldn't ask someone who is currently going through bankruptcy for a third time about how to budget. You want to speak to that person when they're out of those situations and they've learned how to do it themselves. So, speaking to people who have only ever rented and who have only ever lived in a rental environment are not going to be the best people to give you advice on when to buy, unless they are in real estate and they're a real estate professional. But that's all I had to say. I just have seen so much influence and people in turmoil and getting frustrated in the buying process and just choosing to completely back out, which is totally fine. If you're unsure, you shouldn't do it, especially if you're going to be influenced by the people who are around you and you don't have a strong circle. You should absolutely back out because you're going to be hiccuping in every single phase of the purchase process because you're not ready. There is a point where people are ready and there's nothing you can tell them. You can tell them that the house doesn't come with a roof and they're like, how much is a roof? I'll put it on. It's not a big deal because they're ready. Those people are ready. When they cannot no longer be influenced, they're ready. So I'm happy to talk to anyone, answer any questions. I'll include my Beacon link below if you want to schedule a consultation and just discuss what your options are and where you stand. I'd love to help. I'll talk to you guys soon.